Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody out there tuning into this transmission. Welcome to the newest show here, brought to you by me, your host, Ken Statkin. The show does not have a name quite yet. That's not as important as the message that I kind of want to bring to you guys. This show was inspired by recent events. The attempt on Donald Trump's life has reignited a fire inside of me to bring transparency and light to what is going on around us. And I believe right now, more than ever, it is important to stand up and speak against the communistic takeover of this country. Right now, the totalitarian left is planning on destroying your liberty, your freedom, and this country as a whole. And it's going to take every single person to stand up and fight back. So I want to carry that torch of liberty here on this show. And I promise you guys, I will not bullshit you and waste your time. This is very important, as I said, to really fight back, because the brainwashing we're seeing right now is unlike anything I have seen in my entire life. And I've been awake since the 9/11 catastrophe that unfolded so many years ago. So on this episode, I'm just going to try to cover current events and expose the New World Order and really kind of encourage other people to do the same. If you value freedom, if you value liberty, you will not fall for the identity politics that are taking place right now, and you will really kind of look at the facts and do some research for yourself. I will get as many facts as I can straight. I'm not perfect, and I'm the first to admit that. But what I will tell you, friends, is that Kamala Harris right now is a threat to the constitutional republic. The Democratic left is running on this notion that Donald Trump is going to destroy democracy. I want to get one fact out there right now, and that is that this country is not a democracy. This country is a constitutional republic. We have a law in this land that we follow, and is not being followed by the Democratic left. The Democratic left has hijacked the party, and instead it is filled with Marxists and communists that are trying to take complete control over our lives and give the federal government full power. And that is a threat to each and everybody's independence and sovereignty over their lives. So if you'll notice, this started all for me. This fire was reignited when they tried to kill Donald Trump. When they tried to kill Donald Trump, I think that they first off, they failed, and then they got caught. The Secret Service, that Kimberly Cheatley is, caught lying under oath. And there's so many holes in their story that this is clearly an inside job. And as we know by the JFK files that have been declassified, this is obviously not their first attempt. It's not a secret that the CIA was involved in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And you would have to be a fool to think that they would not try that at Trump. They have thrown everything at Trump to try to stop him, and they cannot stop him. And right now, it is each and every one of us responsibility to stand up, because this Kamala Harris is the final boss. There's been speculation that, at the DNC, she may, pick somebody else. But now that Obama, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer have all endorsed Kamala Harris, I don't believe that's the case. I think that, she is the final boss. She is the one they have chosen to kind of push communism harder than it's ever been pushed. Kamala Harris's father was a Marxist professor. That is very disconcerting. But I think the most disconcerting part of all of this is that the way she was inserted is completely wrong. They claim that Trump is going to destroy democracy, when in fact the way they inserted her is completely undemocratic. They basically, this was a coup, that everything that went down with Biden. Trump gets shot. A week later, Biden announces through a tweet on X that he's going to be stepping down, and nobody heard from him for 5 days, and then all of a sudden he reemerges out of the shadows of his basement, 6 inches taller, and gives a speech that shows signs of it being a green screen pre-recorded. And now the media is using their full might to push Kamala Harris through identity politics onto the people who are uneducated and brainwashed into thinking that our president should be a celebrity rather than somebody who can make critical decisions. And that is where the real fear for me comes in, that this will be the end of our country, because Kamala Harris has no solid record. She was appointed the border czar, despite what the media is now trying to tell you, that she was never appointed the border czar. There is obvious proof. They are caught lying again, the media. And I posted clips the other day of the media saying she was the border czar. There's a video of Biden appointing her the border czar. She failed. The border was wide open. There are 11 million illegal immigrants who have flooded across the border in the past 3.5 years. This should be very disconcerting to anybody out there that, values sleeping at night and not having to worry about being invaded or attacked. So Kamala Harris has absolutely no record whatsoever of any strength or support for anything that's going on, really. So the media is the one who is pushing the agenda for Kamala Harris. Netflix just donated $7 million to the Harris campaign, and the Act Blue, where she received a lot of her funding, has also been caught in money laundering, which is quite interesting. But I don't want to get into that too much. I want to talk about how they're lying about the support for Donald Trump. Now, for Trump supporters out there, it can be kind of, discouraging to see how hard the media is pushing this Harris campaign. But I just want you guys to know that, they're always lying. They lie about everything. And have you guys seen the videos just from yesterday at Trump's Minnesota campaign? Have you guys seen the Tennessee campaign? Take a look at this. So I guess the question is right now, why are there so many people out there that hate Trump when during Trump's first presidency, things were so great? It wasn't that long ago, and if you can rack your brain and think back to 2016 to 2020, what your life was like, what your paycheck was like, what the price of gas was, what the safety of the country was like back then. It wasn't that long ago. I know it's hard nowadays to think back that far, but if you'll just really focus your mind on that period of time and how good things were, you'll see a lot of what Trump did. Why do people hate Trump? It's because people are brainwashed and indoctrinated through a system that embraces communism. Okay, I make videos. I'm a videographer, and I'm not a pro, but I do know that there's a certain way to make a video to really engage people and get them to focus on things. There's what's called a hook in a video, and the media has mastered this. I've watched the latest Harris campaign. It's full of lies. It's such propaganda, but it is good. It's compelling. It's got good music. It has, good cut scenes. It really gives you a sense of, we are going to fight for women's rights and we are going to take the country back. But Kamala Harris has no solid plan other than, her stance on abortion, which I want to talk about really quickly because this, I think, is a misconception with people through the lying media that Trump is against women's rights. The Roe versus Wade issue has been an issue for a lot of people. Myself, I didn't really know too much about it or the stance that Trump had on it, but after some investigation, and I actually posted this on my page the other day, but I'm going to reiterate it here on video for those of you watching that may not know. But Roe versus Wade is an unconstitutional bill that was passed into law in 1973. But it's always been unconstitutional. And Trump overturned that bill, returning the power to the states as it should be, because we are a constitutional republic and the federal government should not have more power than the states, and that's the law of the land. So I was actually surprised to find out that abortion is legal in Pennsylvania up to 25 weeks. It is legal in California. If Kamala Harris gets in and legalizes abortion, nothing's going to change for the people in the states that it's already legal. It's going to change, some laws in the 5 other states, but you're giving power to the federal government that the federal government should not have. And so I totally agree with Trump on his stance of returning the power to the states as it should be. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. They think that just Trump wants to ban abortion. Trump has said on camera many times that he believes in, certain situations that it should be allowed. If somebody gets raped and there's, a pregnancy that develops from that unfortunate event, he thinks that's an exceptional, that should be an exception. Trump is not against women's rights. He's not against abortion 1,000%. He believes that you should make that happen in your own state if that's what you want, because the state should hold that power. So going back to the system that embraces communism, I kind of want to touch on that really quickly. It was perfectly explained by Ben Carson the other day on the Tucker Carlson network. Check this out real quick.
And you can go all the way back to 1963 and look at the congressional record. January the 10th, 1963, Congressman Herlong of Florida read into the record the 45 goals of communism in America and how they plan to fundamentally change our society. It was derived from a book called The Naked Communist by W. Cleon Skousen, who was a CIA agent and had done a lot of study on communism and its effect. And you look at those 45 goals, it was things like gaining control of the public school system and the teacher unions so that you could indoctrinate the kids, gaining control of the news media and Hollywood so that you could manipulate the opinions of people, denigrating the role of the family, denigrating the role of the church, getting into the churches and changing the real gospel to the social gospel, making sexual perversion normal, natural, and healthy. I mean, just right down the line, all the things. And the things that are happening in our society right now. And we, the American people, are the pawns who are being manipulated. And it's one of the reasons that Khrushchev was so confident when he talked to Eisenhower and said that your grandchildren's children will live under our system. We won't have to fight a war. because we think we won the Cold War, but they had a much better plan on how to actually change us, and we're falling for it. And we, the American people, have got to wake up before it's too late.
So, folks, this has been going on, obviously, for a very long time. I cannot express to you enough how worried I am about this election. Kamala Harris is the final boss, and it's going to take every single one of us to stand up against her and to fight back. This is just the first episode. I'm going to try to release an episode once or twice a week. This is still kind of new to me. I'm used to firing from the hip, but I want to nail this podcast down and really sharpen it as a sword and get my notes ready and really kind of give you guys the best content possible, because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of disinformation out there, and there's a lot of podcasts out there. But it's important in our own circles to speak our mind, in our own communities, because that is where change first starts. So I encourage every single one of you right now who's out there, who's unsure about what is going on, who can feel a disturbance in the force, to start looking into things, start waking up, because our freedom, our liberty is on the line, friends. I'm not making that up. I am not lying to you, and I am not bullshitting you. This is the final stage. If Trump does not win, communism and totalitarian takeover will happen in this country. And you can kiss your ass goodbye, all your freedoms goodbye. One thing I wanted to touch on real quick, I just thought of this, was during the COVID era. One argument made to me was that Trump was the one who initiated the push the vaccines onto the people when this all went down. And I just want to bring some clarity back to that time. When COVID first started happening, the lockdown started happening, all the bullshit that Anthony Fauci was pushing, this masking up and social distancing. Trump cut the red tape. He didn't sign any bills into effect. He cut the red tape, allowing for the vaccine to be brought to the people sooner rather than later. Now, if Trump hadn't have done that, we would still be masked and social distancing, and the government would have fully broken our spirits and our will to fight back. So Trump brought the vaccine and made it easier to be distributed to the people. But he was not involved in the making of that. The pharmaceutical companies had a monetary incentive to push that vaccine, and that is where a lot of the corruption lies. But Trump's involvement with the vaccine was just making it easier to be delivered to the people. So I wanted to clear that up really quick for anybody out there that might have been confused about that and his involvement in that. But without getting off track too much, I'm going to wrap this episode up. It's a short one. I'd like to make these longer as I go on. Thank you for tuning in. We'll get the studio, the underground studio here set up. I won't disclose its location, but just know that we are the resistance. You are the resistance, and do not let them take the fire of liberty from you. This is Ken, and I will see you on the next one.